What's up, guys? Welcome to No Ideas Original. I'm Mr. Rob. This is my buddy Shannon. Shannon is part of the crew.
What's up?
Today's
Hello, everyone.
today's conversation is a little bit about fitness, man. During these trying times, I've noticed, how we were disproportionately targeted, especially when it came to health. How we were, we were hit bad, man, with those who have pre-existing conditions like myself. And my question always begs, well, how many people are unhealthy, and why aren't they, doing better things with their time? So I had in mind, I know three individuals that I know that are real doing their thing in fitness and changing their lives and changing other lives as well. So I wanted to bring a forum together. Me and my partner talked about us, talking about fitness and well-being. And I thought of you three guys, man. First off, I want y'all to introduce yourself, starting with you, Keith.
Hi, I'm Keisha, aka Fantastic Wonder.
Nice.
Known Rob for many years, so thanks
Yes.
for having me here.
Yes. Go ahead, JH. Hustle.
Hey, this is Jamal. How y'all doing, everybody? Several AKs. We'll get into all of that later.
Nice. And the big homie?
All right, y'all. Hi, but I guess y'all see the government name up there.
And the corners, we see you, brother. We see you.
You know what I mean?
I can't leave that alone.
Yeah. I'm glad you to be on.
Right. So, my thing about fitness, or my thing about well-being, in 2010, I lost my kidney, and a lot of things started to just pop up about, damn, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. One of the things I took pride in is my breathing, and how important it is for breathing and having the right breathing techniques. And I know that follows through with how you work out and do your regimens. Keith, talk a little bit about, your fitness and what it's done for you.
So maybe about 3 years ago, I had come to the realization that I was overweight from my body. I was carrying about 30 extra pounds, and I thick is in, so you're not really paying attention to it.
To the curves, right?
It still gets all the attention from outside. But I realized that I had been probably drinking more wine, like more on a daily basis, because, I enjoyed it. So I'd have like 2 glasses with dinner. And then, I started to see that it was showing up on me physically. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got to cut back on this. So that was the first thing I cut back. And then my son had an injury where his leg had to be cut open on both sides of his calf. He had injured himself playing basketball, and he got compartment syndrome. So they had to drain his legs. So they cut his legs, bilateral fasciotomy is what it's called. Wow. And when they cut it open, they leave it open for days. And just the imagery turned me off to meat. I couldn't eat meat after that. And I was just so gross. I'm like, it looks like a chicken breast. I can't eat anymore.
I'm eating my son's leg right now. I can't do it.
Right. So after that, I kind of just gave up meat for a while. And from that incident happened in January, I went to the doctor in July. I had high cholesterol since my early 20s. When I went to my doctor in July for my annual physical, and he took my cholesterol was down 20 points.
Nice.
Just from cutting out meat. And at that point, I was like, I'm done. No more meat. We'll just leave it alone. The dairy was the harder part. I didn't give up dairy until the following year, but for the most part, the meat and then the dairy went after it, and now my cholesterol has went down so much farther. So every annual physical since then, the doctor's like, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. So
that's right.
That's how the eating changes started for me.
Yeah. And what about Frotastic? Now, Frotastic is a whole different beast now. You done reinvented yourself with Frotastic over there.
Yeah. So basically, I started working out, joined the gym, and I was always physically active, as a young person. And
Correct.
then, you know, as I got older, life happens, you working, raising children, went to school, doing all of that. The fitness would take intermittent breaks. I would always come back to it, but then I would stop, you know? So now it's who I am now. So fitness is just as important to me as eating, as drinking water. Working out is just as important. So I make sure if I'm not going to fully work out and lift weights, I'm actually going to either jump some rope for 20 minutes, maybe run for a little bit, just something to stay active on a daily basis. I have to say though, that with the current state of the world at the moment, my energy and my fitness has taken kind of a hit because I just don't have the energy to give to it, but I haven't stopped. So I will do that 15 to 20 minutes to make sure that I'm still moving and make sure that I'm not depriving myself of, you know, my own needs and physical needs. You know, I can't allow the world to actually affect that. So, you know, I still have to be strong and able to fight, you know, because the war is about to begin.
Right. Nah, what we're going through has been taxing on all of us, not just those who got pre-existing conditions. The people that's out there working 12 hours to 15 hours a day, they're on their feet. You know, how do we sustain that? Hustle Brown, my brother, Mr. Harris, you've transformed your life just a little bit too, brother. So how's it been working out for you, man?
So it's actually been a lot more than a little bit, right? And it was actually a mandatory thing when it started. Like I'm having big fun right now, because I'm all the way into it now, and it's you know, we always been athletic, but now it's
sir.
But when it started, basically a couple of years ago, around my 34th birthday, a couple of days after that, you know, I got a unwanted present.
Talk about it.
Well, how it started. I was actually, you know, excuse me for being a little graphic, but I was going to the bathroom a little bit more than I thought. Like I was. I didn't understand.
Right.
Honestly, at the time, I thought maybe I might have had a close encounter with the wrong person or something, and I needed penicillin or something.
Easy, brother. But you had to go check it out though, son. You don't stay stagnant with that.
It was, you know, it was the reason why I'm doing, you know, things that's not normal. So I go check it out, and the lady tells me my sugar is through the roof, right? Like, kept me in the hospital for 3 days. I went, you know, thinking I was gonna get a shot and get sent home and you know, be nice, and I was in the hospital for 3 days. So I came out with diabetes and realized that I had to get serious. So first thing I do, you know, I say, okay, I'm gonna go to the supermarket. I'm gonna figure out what it is I can eat and what I can't eat, right? And I left the supermarket disgusted because as I'm reading all the labels and I'm reading everything is full of sugar. And I'm like, all right, so what I'm supposed to eat? I can't eat none of this.
Yeah, let me tell you something, not to cut your wisdom. When I found out high fructose corn syrup was in bread, I said the game got to change, son. Why is sugar in there? And I know it's starch turning to sugar, but it specifically say high fructose corn syrup. Now, why do I need corn syrup in my bread? I don't get it, son. It don't make sense, man. It don't make sense.
It is high fructose. We got
high, not low, not medium, nigga. The best. That shit is high as you don't know what, man. For real, man.
So, you know, I mean, I figured out, you know, I had to just start eating more natural. Like, you know, I'm eat what's in the box because the box got everything on it. I got to start eating stuff that don't come in the box, right?
That's right.
Right. And I got with Black Mike.
Right. And I build on that because you and Black Mike are doing some big things too, man.
Yeah.
With that teamwork thing you got going on. We gonna shoot the big homie. Big homie, you've been in the game a while, man. And as a youngster, I watched you athletically from was it Co-op City Rams? You and Hop? Like, yeah, I'm taking it back, brother. I'm showing your age a little bit. Talk about how important it is just to be fit, period, bro.
I think you know, you know, being in fitness now, and realizing there's different levels of people.
Yes, sir.
Right? You know, of course, you know, going all the way back to, like you said, you know, Co-op City Rams, like, you know, I could even go before that, you know, Bridgefield, you know, baseball, Hayford Park.
Yes, sir.
Right? You know, I was always athletic. So this, you know, where I'm at now with it is just that it was just simply the transition, right? But I realized for us, like, that was it, right? Like we were in the park, we played basketball and we did football, and then that was it. But fitness wasn't necessarily attached to that. That was just something that we did.
That's right.
It was, you know, there was nobody there to give us the guidance to let us know that this was a lifestyle, right? Like there was some, like athletes, you know, we see, what we're seeing is finished product, right? We're not seeing, you know, how
the regimen,
right? Like how did Rick Ross said it best? You wasn't with him shooting in the gym, right? And so that's how I always, you know, me training kids now, you know, I always got to express to them, like, this is it. The work now is it. It's not, you know, what you see on, you know, because everybody is so, you know, hooked on, you know, Sports Center, right? And so you get hooked on Sports Center. So what, you know, Sports Center is finished product, right? And it's not even necessarily finished product, right? Because that person is still working to get better. You know, that highlight was that one thing, but it's something that, you know, the person is still getting better and trying to do and take care of business. But as far as me, you know, in fitness and evolving in it, it was something that, like, it sort of, you know, came, you know, naturally, right? You know, sports thing, and then unfortunately, you know, did some, you know, at Fed time, that was it.
And allowed you some time to think and say, you know,
it gave me some time to think. But once again, you know, you speak to anybody that was with me in the Feds, I'm like, I'm Mr. Football, right? Flag football season comes, and
you own it,
man. You know what I mean? Even the police is coming out to see me play.
That's crazy. That's real.
No, seriously. But the thing, and what I did was, you know, the whole, you know, I had my whole little crew that we used to go out 6 a.m., boom, hit the weight pile. And it's so funny because my man, he owns a gym down in the city now. He was my bunkie, and, you know, and I remember him studying, you know, to get his certification. I used to be like, why, you know, of course, like, why are you doing that? Like, you know, but me, because, you know, I'm at this point, and I will be 100% honest, like, bro, I'm not totally bought in on the whole work thing. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. And I'm like, it's so crazy, right? Like how things come full circle.
Yes, sir.
And then, you know, I'm working in, that's when the Dwayne Reed was across the street from Macy's, and he was working at Crunch, and he saw me in there, and he said, yo, I gotta get you out of here. Like, not seriously.
Right.
Because he just knew that it wasn't me, right? Right. He called me one Saturday morning. He was like, yo, I set up an interview. I want you to go see my man. I was like, I'm not doing no training. He's like, it's too late. I already gave the dude your name, right? And that was it. That started me on training. You know what I'm saying? And that just created, you know, it's so crazy because that was not even the path that I was looking for when I came home. But once I got into it, I realized that it's the very same hustle that we came from.
That's right.
That was it.
That's it.
You know
That's it.
And then now, of course, you know, when you start involving and talking with kids and parents about, athleticism and getting their kids together. Now it takes on a whole new life, right?
Yes, it does.
Because I don't believe that you should. I don't believe, I think all of us here, we could all speak to it. I don't remember a Saturday morning where I slept in. Like, we were out.
Say that again.
You understand what I'm saying?
Say that again, my nigga.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't a Saturday where you're sleeping till noon. No, we were out like, we're HB, somewhere.
HB, we was in the park, 7:30 to 7:30. Right.
But that's what I'm saying. And so now these kids that are so PlayStation heavy, right?
They're reluctant not to go outside.
So now you don't have as many athletes, right?
Right.
And so now I'm teaching kids how to run.
Wow.
Right? I'm teaching them form, like how to run properly. Like this morning, I'll just give you an example. A kid, I have to teach him how to run, right? He's talented in one facet, but in terms of running,
right,
he doesn't have
no form, none of that.
Nothing. He doesn't have it. And that begs to my point, not to cut your wisdom, because Shannon and I was talking with Rice, and most of y'all I know HB knows Rice, and he was on the front line during this whole pandemic situation. And one of the first things he was saying is like, it's attacking everyone's lungs. But the crazy part about that conversation, he was saying, yo, master, people don't know how to breathe.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I took that back when I was in maybe elementary school. When you go in the gym, you set arms distant from everyone. The first thing you did was take a couple of deep breaths. They taught you how to deep.
Mr. Suntag.
Mr. Suntag, right there, son. Deep breath. Ooh, son. Come on, son. Mr. Duboff. So when you was about to play Bombard, you better have your wind up.
You better get ready.
So now people not knowing how to take deep breaths. Now, breath for me is on an esoteric level, because when I meditate, I make sure I go to all different scenarios when I meditate. And I've also taken a couple of Tai Chi lessons too. And it's all breathing, B. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know, I didn't even know the shoulders were attached to the lungs. Every time I'm doing this, I'm just spreading my wings, B.
Yeah.
Which made sense to me. And some of the practices I have in basketball, and you may attest to this, HB, when you used to run laps, they kept the ball above your head because all your lungs is open.
Right.
And you're getting all that oxygen.
And as we get older, we don't take deep breaths.
At all.
Unless
you're mad.
They're very short, shallow breaths.
Right.
And we don't take deep breaths unless we are involved in some sort of physical exercise that actually makes us take deep breaths, which is why meditation and breathing exercises are important, because that's what keeps our lungs strong. So if you have a sedentary life and you are not taking those deep breaths, you are just allowing your lungs to just
atrophy.
Yep.
They just shrinking up, and then it's hard for you to breathe when it's time for you to take a deep breath.
Right. Right.
Let me ask you this, because you mentioned, Frotastic, you were talking about BMI. And BMI, I think, often comes up when you start talking to people about BMI. Everybody always goes to, well, there's this European expectation of what BMI should be versus people of color. And I'm just wondering, do you see that as a barrier for people who are reluctant to possibly engage in fitness because they feel, well, that's European standards?
So for me, I just knew what was right for my body. I've always been a thin person. I was 110 pounds for most of my life until I started having children. Then I go up in like 10-pound increments. So I've never really struggled with weight. So for me, I knew I was not at a weight that I should be. So I never really tell people like, you shouldn't be this big, or because I don't want people to feel self-conscious about themselves. They're already dealing with a society that kind of tells them like, you're not supposed to be a certain weight. What I always express to people is that if you're lifting weights and you're building muscle, the scale is not going to tell you the difference between whether the weight is from the muscle or weight is from the fat.
Right.
What you need to do is just make yourself put yourself in a position to eat healthy, get regular exercise. Weight will come off. You don't have to be a certain weight just because someone else tells you that. What you want to know is that what your fat to muscle ratio is.
Right.
So scales don't give you that. I mean, you really need to go and see like a physician who will give you like a whole metabolic exam and stuff.
Nutritionalist or something
Right.
like that,
But for the most part, you have to know what feels good to you. So, you know, if you're walking up a flight of stairs, I also work in heart failure. So that's a whole nother story. But you know, if you're walking,
baby.
right, if you're walking up a flight of stairs and you're like, and you've only taken 5 steps, it's an issue. And it probably is because you have more fat around your lungs or around your body that's not allowing your cardiovascular system to just be free and breathe and allow this. So you really have to trust your judgment about yourself. Know where you were at one time and where you felt your healthiest, and then go with that. I don't subscribe to like the whole BMI thing, because that really isn't a good again, it doesn't really tell you, because it's going to go by your weight, right? And then it's going to tell you, okay, 25, you are maybe close to being overweight, but you may be at 25 and you less muscular. You walking around, you know, looking like a god or a goddess, you know? So it's not, I don't really go with the BMI. I really tell people, look at your body and get yourself to a place where you feel healthy, where you feel like, I can walk this flight of stairs. I can walk, you know, do speed walks and to run. I tell my mom the same thing. It's like, just get out and walk. Give yourself 20 minutes where you're breathing heavy, you know?
Right. You're putting that work in, man. You're getting that sweat.
Keep the blood flowing through your body. So you really have to get to a point where you feel comfortable and your quality of life is up. That's what's important, especially at our age, because at
lifestyle,
this age,
man.
Right, at this age, you're gonna face heart disease, diabetes,
high blood pressure.
Right. And one of the other things, and I'll finish after this so that everyone else can get a chance to talk. Black people take pride in our food being seasoned. Yet we are the ones who suffer with hypertension and diabetes. We really have to, I'm not telling you to have unseasoned food, but we over season our food to the point that we are dying from seasoned food and we are bragging about it. We have to change that mindset.
Because we become slave to our tongue. That's it.
Exactly.
We become desirable slave to our tongue.
And I've done raw vegan. I mean, I still kind of touch on fish right now. I've been like eating fish more, but for the 2 years, I was pretty much completely vegan. And the raw vegan, the food can taste just as good. You just don't eat, it's just not cooked. It's raw, right? And I've done cooked vegan food as well.
Right.
But you don't have to over season it. You know, we have to start worrying about the sodium content in the food.
Right.
And we can't just be talking about, oh, you know, they don't season their food. Well, we over season our food. So how are we going to stop killing us by not over seasoning our food?
We have an aneurysm after we eat the chicken.
Exactly. Right. So, and it's funny thing, you mentioned a couple of things, man. Knowing your numbers, you know, knowing your numbers is very important to me when you talk about sodium content, because I didn't know, you know, the average body can only take in about 22 milligrams of salt per day.
Per day.
You know what I'm saying? Per day. So that means if you're eating 2 slices of bread, one of them slices is about 110 milligrams. So if it's 2, it's 220.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You ain't put no mayonnaise on it. You ain't put nothing else on it.
Right.
And it's already almost 1,000. Right. You know what I'm saying? And we're trained to eat 3 square meals a day, which all of those 3 square meals have meat in it. So your body is already working twice as hard to get rid of breakfast. Right. Then lunch is right 4 or 5 hours after that. You put lunch on top of that, and then dinner. Then Chanel, what's the term we use instead of niggeritis?
Ethnic fatigue.
Ethnic fatigue.
I like that.
Yes, is what you're wiped out by the end of the day.
Right.
I know lifestyle has a lot to do with it, because it was lifestyle that I allowed myself to damage my kidney, not just.
But we all did. We all do. We all have done things that just were not the best things for our bodies, because one, we didn't know any better, right? But now we know better, so we have to do better.
Absolutely.
And another reason is because historically, that's just the way we had grown up. Like,
Traditional,
you know,
that's right.
and when you look at people, they're like, no, you know, I know for a fact that my son has type 1 diabetes, which is autoimmune, not the type 2 where you can actually change and reverse. He needs to have an insulin pump. So his diabetes, his hemoglobin A1C keeps going up. And it's not because he's eating too much sugar. It was because he was eating too much fat. So he's eating high protein food. So he's eating steak. Steak the fat blocks the insulin from getting into your blood cells, which is why the sugar is spilling into your blood and your sugar is spiking. So people think it's just the carbohydrates, but it's the fat as well. You really have to have a balance.
Right.
And that's what it's all about.
That's right. That's right. HB, talk a little bit about the diabetes and you know, it's definitely changed your life. You know what I mean? But, you know, your father, your family, how was it introducing it to your family or sharing those ideas with your family?
So, I mean, across the board, like it's a change, like to everybody. You know, my daughter has actually been my biggest motivation because, you know, I need to be there.
That's right.
It's funny though, because listening to this conversation, it's a lot simpler than we think. As I'm hearing everything, you know, everything is piggybacking off of each other, right? We talked about the lack of activity in the youth and kids not even being able to run, right? If you look
or breathe,
and this is where I was going with it, right? Because they can't run, right, and because they're stuck in front of the TV. We talked about we went outside and they're stuck inside, right? They're not doing basic activities. Never mind, you know, us being on the basketball court or going from borough to borough, playing different games all day. They're not doing basic breathing, right?
Right.
So they're not doing basic breathing. They're not moving, right? So now this is where the respiratory problems, you know, come in, right? And now when they do try to do something, right, we can't even think about running, like I was saying, because you still trying to figure out how to breathe, right? And then you think it's over there, it's not even over. On top of you not doing anything, sitting around, now on top of that, you making your body work twice as hard as it should, right? By putting the wrong food.
Right.
You overworking your body and you're like walking around, right? So it's a good thing when all the problems, you know, have a common denominator, because then there's a common solution, right? Like we need to be active. Like you remember, Rob, like I remember, you remember the little drawstring book bags, little
yeah.
And putting like 7 jerseys in that little drawstring bag and getting on the train.
Yes, sir.
Game to game to game to game to game to game all day, right? And then we might get back to the block and play another one just because.
Right. And being 78 to 3 a.m. Yeah. Easy, son.
Right.
Mm.
But you're saying, but the lifestyle is changing. The kids today, they're reluctant to go outside because of these devices and these toys. I remember coaching in Maryland, and a buddy of mine, he was from Brooklyn, and we played ball all through Maryland. And upon coaching, you know, you kind of test the kids out. So like, run some laps. So we had to stop practice. These kids was just, and we talking about 7 to 8-year-olds. And we told the parents, cut every PlayStation off, all the Sega, turn it off. Your kids is lazy. And they looking at us like, I'm like, look, your kids can't even run. It's not even a full-size gym. And they can't even do a lap. But you want your son to talk about, I want to play like Carmelo Anthony. This thing can't run. But that comes from not going outside. Like you said, when we played outside, we played manhunt, all sorts of stuff that involved running.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you went to the store, your mother said, hurry up. You ran to the store and back. You was inclined to be athletic, jump a fence, climb a tree. Them things ain't associated in children now. So how do we get our children?
Rob, let me, just in terms of getting exercise. Mm-hmm. So you remember Nana lived on the 4th floor. She would walk up and down those stairs every day for more than once. It wasn't until we moved her to the ground floor that she started to have her health issues.
See that?
because she had one incident where they had to go up this four flights of stairs and bring her down on a stretcher. And then we made the change, like, okay, this is going to be too much for her to keep, you know, if she got sick again. We moved her to the ground floor, and her heart disease just got worse because now she's not walking up them 4 flights of stairs. And Nana did that with ease.
Yeah.
She did that with ease. I mean, she had her open heart surgery. She comes home and we told her, all right, Nana, we'll do things for you. And one day the neighbor calls and Nana's carrying her walker, walking up the stairs on Corsa to go to the store.
That walker, the damn shopping cart, she was doing it all, son.
Exactly. So it really, this was an 80-year-old woman, right?
Yes, sir.
So walking up 4 flights of stairs, these kids they can't handle 4 flights of stairs now.
That's
it's
right.
like,
that's right.
Up those stairs.
So, Pa, let me ask you, man, how do we, go ahead.
Yeah, let me jump in because I kind of heard the question that you were about to ask, and because I deal with kids pretty much every day, and I will tell you how I speak to all parents, you know, black, white, whoever. I give them all the same advice, right? Because here it is, because usually there are different expectations, right?
Right.
From parent to parent, there's different expectations, you know, because we're in the age right now of, because we're talking about the group of kids that we're talking about are the sedentary kids, right? And then there's the next level of kids that are prolific at something,
right,
and can actually probably go on to do something, but still have that lazy way about them, right? And so how do we change the narrative? We change the narrative by being parents. And I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. Like, I don't play the game. Like, you can't tell me what it is that you're not going to do. All right. This is a dictatorship, and I'm coming from the standpoint of a parent, right? Because I see the big picture, and so the big picture is that you are going to be active, right? Now, I'll just give you an example of my youngest son, right? I remember, he was very young at this point, and I told him, I had got him into a school in Manhattan, so I said, and I knew that they were very big on hockey, so I said, look, gonna get him ice skating lessons. And at this point I would say he's 5, maybe about 5. So I took him up to the Palisades, got him to hockey.
Okay.
He's, I don't, he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it. Right? So just long story short, so he does it, right? Now he winds up tearing up the whole damn hockey league. Like he's and winds up being like a phenomenal hockey player. Like the only reason we stopped hockey is because it conflicted with Gaucho so much.
Right. That's right.
Like,
timing.
Because literally I had a 4-sport athlete. Like this kid was playing hockey, lacrosse, basketball, and football. Right?
That's crazy.
Right.
So, and prolific at all of them. Right? I don't know if I told you, Rob, but he has 17 offers right now.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? For football.
That's dope.
So, but all, the football coach from Northwestern told me, on a Zoom call, he said, we came to the basketball. He had Notre Dame, Cal, and somebody else all at his basketball practice at his school. And they just watching him. And they said they loved watching him play basketball, right? Just because of the athleticism he showed. And I explained to them that this was something that I put together.
It's repetition. It's lifestyle.
And the fact was that he went from sport to sport, and he thought that every kid did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Right.
He thought that every kid played 3 and 4 and 5 sports. That was, you know what I mean? Because I didn't give him an option. And I think that, to go back to your question, to answer it, is that we give our kids the option to say, oh, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Really?
Versus no option. No option at all.
Because I always put it like this. I'm not paying for college. And I know that you're gifted, so you're going to help me out.
Right.
You understand?
Period. That's right.
And that's it. Like this is not an argument, and this is not
a debate. Nah, I'm drawing a line in the sand
not a
right
democracy here.
I'm a huge Fidel Castro fan. It's a dictatorship. My youngest son's name is Che, like Che Guevara. So I've preached Fidel and Che to him. All of the kids. I used to Fidel kid. That's all they know. So but to bring it home, that is how we're going to change the narrative, man. We can't give our kids an option to say, I think that, and what I see with other cultures, they indoctrinate their kids with the idea of the sport very, very early.
Yes, sir.
Right? Very early. You know what I mean? And I realized that I did the same thing with my son. Like, lacrosse was the very first thing that he did. And I think he was 4. Right. Of course, he's the only black kid playing lacrosse, right? Right. But once again, it was something that he became prolific at. Why? Because by the time he goes on to junior boarding school, he's like the real deal with it, right?
Right, so for real.
Right.
Yeah.
So
routine plays a part. Big part.
It's routine, Rob, but we can't bend, because that's what I see. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna be honest. A lot of the parents now, especially the younger parents, my sister called me the other day. She's like, "Oh, yeah, she doesn't want to do the lacrosse." I said, "So what does she want to do?" I said, "Being that you're giving her options, tell me what the thing is that she wants to do."
Correct.
And see, there's no answer, and I have a problem with
that. Nah,
right.
yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because now the child has wiggled out of that, right? She doesn't want to do lacrosse. Okay, so what are we going to do? Because it can't be, once again, it goes back to where we started at, that we're home on Saturday mornings.
Yeah. What do we
looking at the ceiling.
So, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
For the adults though, because every January 2nd is everybody's resolution to get back to the gym.
Oh man. And then look,
niggas is lazy, man.
I've been in fitness a very long time, man. So I've seen every resolution and every, and I think that
every last one of them broke too.
The thing is that, I mean, culturally, us, we didn't grow up with parents where that was their thing. I think of course, my kids, right? All of my kids, they work out, they train, it's because there was no other way.
Right. They wasn't getting around it.
Right. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And plus, I wanted to show you how it is that I earned my pay, so you can see, right? But the whole thing is, and I think that where we kind of, and I see this with all of us, like you want to parent, right? And I think that we parent in such a way that we get a little bit complacent to the point where now we have, like I said, we're missing the boat on opportunities for our kids, because now our kids are not active. They're not athletic, right? They're not. Right. They don't have anything to offer. Like I told you, Rob, I run a consulting business, right? And so one of the big things with my consulting business, when I place your kid at a school, is that what sport are they prolific at, right? Now that could mean the difference of you paying
$15,000 to $40,000.
Let's say $4,000 or $69,000.
Correct.
Because if you play nothing, okay, and maybe academically your kid is strong, they'll let them in. But now you're gonna come up with 60. Now, just the other day, I placed a kid from Philly, running back, great. Now, the grandmother was ecstatic. Why? Because She saw the price tag of the school, which was $68,000, and she only has to pay $4,700. Why? Because her grandson is prolific in something.
Right.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So now we have to have something to offer to where it is that we put our kids in a position that's better.
Right.
And because I'll give you a quick story, another one. My oldest son was being recruited by Princeton, and the guy said, we just turned down 700 valedictorians. We don't need another smart kid at Princeton, meaning we want somebody that's going to come and contribute.
Right.
Do you understand?
That's right.
700 valedictorians. So that's 700 motherfuckers that thought, yo, I got this.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
They thought, I'm in. But Princeton was like, you're just smart.
That's all you are.
That's all you are.
When we think about the kids that are the age groups that we're talking about, we're talking about a lot of children who probably are products of younger parents, right? Because we know, we know that I was a young parent. I was 18 years old when I became a parent. So
right.
I can honestly say that the resources at that time that I was aware of, I wasn't aware of much. I didn't really have my children in things as early as 5 years old.
Okay.
However, at the time I was still in the Bronx, so I was able to put my son in the Mashalu Community Center where he played basketball. And then I put them in Little League. And then they played baseball. Then when I moved up here to Tarrytown, they started off, how I got them to meet people before starting school here was to play football.
Correct.
So I signed them up for the town league for football. And then I never really had to tell my kids to go outside and play. In all honesty, they got up like I did. They got up. Can I go outside? Sure. No problem. And they were out all day. They come in, grab something to drink, back outside, hanging out with friends' house. Nighttime, then they're on the game. Most times they're outside. They would play manhunt. They were playing games that we played when we were younger.
Right.
I think a lot of times is that we have parents who maybe in a sense don't necessarily want to pay for college. Like you said, I'm not paying for college. You're going to earn your way. But they don't know how to empower their kids to play sports. They're trying to control their kid to play a sport that they think the kid should play. Instead of saying, like you said, you asked your sister or your niece, well, what does she want to play, right? And they don't give the kid the opportunity to say, they may only know one sport. Like, you're going to play basketball. You're 6 feet tall. You're going to play basketball. He may not be into basketball, but he may be great at soccer. He may be great at tennis or golf, lacrosse, whatever it is. And there's scholarships for all those things. But I think the parents have to educate themselves into learning what their child enjoys and then working off of that. Some of us, we don't do that. We're just guiding them based on what we know, opposed to having an open mind that they may be better at something that has nothing to do with us culturally, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be basketball or football, but because that's all we really engage in, that's what we push them to. So like you said. So
to Shanon's point, it's not so much the children. The children are the effect. The cause are the parents.
We have to find ways to empower, empower the young kids to do something.
The parents.
The adults, for sure, are definitely the problem.
They're the cause and the effect of the children. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the lack of. Go ahead, Shannon.
No, I was saying, I think every year you get adults, not even from a kid perspective, the adults make these resolutions. I'm gonna get in the gym, and then there's
and last for 2 days.
Yeah, there's statistics that show us that when people start talking about wasteful spending, right up there along the side of having a huge cable package is gym memberships.
Right.
Don't actually take advantage of gym memberships. So
there was some happy people when COVID started, and they didn't have to really say that I gave up the gym on March 15th.
Right.
That is crazy. How do we get, to kind of shift away from the kids and just think about a lot of times the kids are going to emulate what they see the parent or the adult do.
That's a fact.
The adults and the parents aren't physically fit or engaged in fitness.
Right.
Like that to sort of.
I'm glad you said that.
Because Derek is fit. So his kids are witnessing.
Right, what
he's
dad
fit.
do. Dad,
Right.
that's dad. I'm gonna be like dad. That's
Right,
a perfect
exactly.
example that you're living with someone like that.
Exactly.
Which sends me to talk to HB about Mike, what Black is doing. And that Black man decathlon y'all be running. Because I don't know what the hell, that shit there.
Is this the Team Spartan Spades? Team Spades?
Yo, son. Yo, that's boot camp, my nigga.
I keep saying my knees are not
ready for that.
No.
Yo, Shannon, they running in mud, they climbing trees, they doing all sorts of things. Yo, talk to us about that, yo.
But let me tell you something, man. It's not as intimidating as
it looks.
Yeah, and the thing is too, there's different groupings, so to speak, right? Like, so there are people who are elite and who do this thing for a living, and they actually go on the calendar and they plan they itinerary, plane trips and all of that, and they travel around the country all year doing this, right? And heats for them, but then for the regular people too, right? And the most beautiful thing about them Spartan races is that you're gonna find somebody there that's gonna push you, right? You're gonna find somebody that's gonna challenge you, that's gonna hit that nerve in your body to say, I gotta keep doing it. But you're gonna find somebody where you at, trying to get where you at. And the camaraderie in these races is something that I've never seen before, right? Like
it's like military.
It's the military, but it's people in there that just signed up. So it's not just the staff sergeant yelling at you like he forgot when he was human. And
it's Private Ryan in there too, trying to struggle his way through, huh?
With you, and you'll be surprised that you doing it, and right when you about to give up, you turn around and the total stranger is gonna be the one that's gonna push you to
keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's what it's about. Right. It goes back to what we're talking about. It's a mentality, right? And if you indoctrinate your kids, yourself with the mentality, all you're doing is watching it carry over.
Right.
It's a carryover thing. It makes you accountable, right?
Absolutely.
As a parent, right? As a parent, it makes you accountable, and now you pay attention to what it is you're eating and drinking, because you want your son or your daughter to make sure that they're taking care of themselves in the future. And just making sure that they have an understanding of that. As all of us as Black people, right? We're so hunkered down in tradition, right? And our traditions are attached to our food, and our food is crazy, right? And so we've had to, and I'm sure everyone here has had to separate ourselves from our traditional foods, because it's not something that we can hang out with for the next,
continue to eat like that.
Right. For the next 70 years. You can't do it.
Our bodies are not built to process that crap.
That's right. And you're absolutely right. And so
I started telling my kids, your body, you have to think of it as a well-oiled machine. It is either you compare it to your Porsche, your Ferrari, whatever high quality automobile it is. What kind of oil and gas do you put in that car? You're going to make sure that you are putting the highest quality oil. You got to think of your body the exact same way. I remember when my son got diagnosed with the diabetes, I was like, okay, everyone gives up sugar. Like there's no more sugar in the house. He has his sweetener if he needed something, but there was no more high fructose corn syrup, none of that. I took the high fructose corn syrup. I was like, I'll take this to work. I'll make some frozen waffles for breakfast and then whatever. I sugar crashed so hard that day. I threw the syrup in the garbage, and I never had regular, Aunt Jemima, none of that shit ever again. Like,
Wow.
I am not putting this in my body. That shit it just messes you up completely. I'm sorry I'm cursing on your show, but
No, let it out. Let it out. Spit it how you living on here.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get into everyone around me to get into a mindset to eat for your organs. You got to eat for organ health. My boyfriend and I, like, that's what we talk about all the time. Like, what do we put? Are we feeding us green juices? Are we putting the greens, the reds, the purples, the yellows, all the stuff that's supposed to feed our organs? That's the way we're supposed to be eating, not just for taste. It's okay to have some things that taste good, but we have to make sure that the majority is what's going to treat and help heal our organs.
From a cellular standpoint, you're absolutely right, because it's your cells that need the reconstructing and the energy to continue to reproduce and make more cells. So your cells form tissue, your tissues form organs. Your organ has an whole entire system that needs to be ran. Without you, it just needs you to pour into it and give it what it needs so it can continue going on. That's the reason why I talked about breathing. And another thing, drinking water. These two things are just a symbiotic. They just mesh together that people don't even involve themselves with, man. I know people that don't even drink water. I haven't drank water in months. Like, I would hate to be walking in the bathroom behind you. Right. Your shit probably smell like ammonia. But it's it's the lifestyle. Yo, son, it's the lifestyle and it's the repetitious bad behavior that we're stuck in. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for us to detour out of that. So that's why we end up with high blood pressure. Forget about all the stress that you got to deal with before you even put any food in your stomach or drink any alcohol. It's your mental health, because that creates toxin too. Right. The shit you think about hurts you more than a pork sandwich, than any Hennessy. You know what I'm saying? All the Hennessy and all the other things take you over the top. But what damage you first is how you thinking, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And it takes 30 days to create a habit.
Yeah, that's right. What have people been doing for their gym routine since everything happened and now gyms are shut down?
I'm working out at home.
Okay. What kind of workouts are you doing?
I have one barbell with 2 25 plates, and I have 2 10-pound dumbbells, a 20-pound kettlebell, and a 35-pound kettlebell, a jump rope, and the great outdoors. There you go. So I do, if I get too
Jedi
bored,
life, you in that Jedi life.
Yeah,
huh?
I switch it up, and then I follow a lot of fitness, which is Frotastic Wonder. I mainly follow a lot of fitness people because that's what I'm looking at. Like, that's what I want in my head. It motivates me if I see someone else working out. Like, you know what? I got to get my workout in today. Right. And, so I switch it up. Either I'm doing it indoors, I'm doing it outdoors, whatever it is. I'm using weights. I'm not using weights. I'm using body weight. It all works.
Nice.
What's your guys' position on resistance bands? Like, recently I've started using resistance bands.
I have those too.
Access to weights like that in the house, but do you think they're good?
Oh, they're actually great. And the thing that most people don't realize about resistance bands, when you train with weights, you train one way, right? You usually like push the weight and then you weight down, right? When you pushing the weight, you working your muscles. When you relax, you actually supposed to be working your tendons, right?
There you go.
You're relaxing movement. You're not really working your tendons. The resistance bands force you to work your muscles that you're working on the exercise, and then to on the pullback.
On the comeback, right.
So in some cases, it's actually better for you to, I would say, to start with resistance band, because everybody get in the gym and want to be He-Man, thinking they pick up half the gym, they doing something.
Right. Yeah, I ain't never been the muscle guy. I always been the athletic guy. I tell you, even when I played ball, how I used to work out, I used to go to a party. Because back then, if you did the Running Man for 4 hours, your ass was in shape, my nigga. You go to a bully party, he playing Running Man, and fucking what was the joint we used to run to? The Public Enemy joint that yo son, they used to have us running all night. And that's how I used to get in shape, keeping it real. You know what I'm saying?
So
party.
And resistance bands, they really are great for keeping your body moving. you know, getting resistance training, getting that. If you want to bulk, it's not going to help you bulk, right?
Yeah.
But it will give you a workout. And that's what's important, is to get the workout. When the gym's open and you want to bulk, you go bulk. But the workout is what's important, keeping your body moving.
That's right. Keep it moving.
I've heard also people, you know, in different circles, like I've heard some trainers say, you know, you need to have a good workout routine. And then I've heard other trainers say stuff like, you know, you need to make sure that your routine varies. Because based on like muscle memory, like, you know, you're not really helping or doing anything if you keep doing the same exercises over and over. You know, what's your position in terms of that? Like, should you stick to one workout routine, or should there be, you know?
It needs to vary. I mean, my thing is especially as a trainer, my job is to keep you on your toes. Right. So you're never going to get the same workout at all from me. You know, you'll do things that are similar, but they won't be the same workout. I mean, because basically I'm putting you through a workout that mirrors whatever it is that your lifestyle is, right? Okay. I try to challenge you in that way, right? So if you're a registered nurse and you do 12-hour shifts, then, and I know that you're on your feet for 12 hours, then I'm going to work you in that way so that you can be good in that way, right?
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you're a hedge fund manager and you're sitting there looking at 6 screens all day, then I'm really probably going to bust your ass, right? Because you're sitting down all day.
That's
so
right.
I'm gonna wake you up, right? So and so I'm with me, you know, like I said, how I was really, you know, and most of the way that I train, of course, comes from just being down, right? And then kind of, you know, watering it down for regular people, right? And just giving them something different consistently over time, to where it is that they feel like, oh wow, like this is a great workout, right? But you always have to vary the workouts, because what will happen is which everybody knows, you'll plateau, right?
Right.
And so now you're going to be in a situation where your body's not responding, you're not seeing results, and now you're trying to figure out why. And the reason why is because you're not varying the work. Something needs to be challenged. Something needs to be changed. And so this is very, very important. And this is, you know, when I tell people, you know, when you get your trainer, or, you know, you start, you know, make sure that the trainer is going to make sure they're going to take care of you in such a way that you feel good about how it is that they're training you, you know what I mean? How they're taking care of you, because it's very, very important. You know, I can tell you that in the training business, and I've been in it very, very long time, I've seen trainers that were horrible make $140,000 a year. You understand? And the reason why they made that, because training itself is a friendship thing, right? The person buys you. They buy your personality.
That's right.
So you don't necessarily even have to really be good at what you do. If they like you, they're just gonna train with you.
They're gonna follow what you say. Right.
You understand? But if you're good, then that's the whole. Then you're on another level.
Right.
You understand?
That's right.
You're on another level with it. And you know, I consider myself. I mean, the people that I started in this business with, and it's a very small group of trainers, you know, they're still, for the most part, they're all still in the training business because they were pretty good at it. Right. There's not a lot of people, you know, and then there's that group of people that, you know, they're doing something completely different. Right. And maybe, you know, because I, you know, training is one of those business that it's ebbs and flows, right? It's ups and downs, especially times like now. Right. So, definitely, varying the workout is something that has to happen. It has to happen. You know?
And also eating clean.
Eating clean. Well, look.
That's good. I'm glad you said that too. Not to cut your wisdom, Pop, because even during my situation, you know, with high blood pressure and me being needing a kidney and all that, my blood pressure stay high. But as soon as my wife changed my diet and started eliminating them, all the medication started to change. She's already I'm already off of 1 or 2 medications already. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
And it didn't even work out. And Pa, I told you, once I get the green light, I need that resistance training. I don't want to bulk up. I just want to be lean and ready for anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I know diet is very big, and portion size too, man.
Portion control is everything.
And not eating when the sun is up. I learned that too, man. Stop eating when the sun is down, because your body's not getting that energy from the sun to burn those calories off, even if you're standing still. As long as the sun is up, it's working in your interior, man. But if you're out eating at 11 and 12, it's a disaster, son. You're looking for pockets of fat. You're sitting under your neck and under your belly.
Right. And grits, eggs, and bacons are not a good breakfast.
Oh, man.
You're going back to like our traditions.
Right, our lifestyle, son.
Going back to our cultural traditions, which we're entrenched in.
Right.
You understand? Like it's very hard for us, for our people, to break away from those things.
Yeah, the lighter the breakfast, the better, actually. But you know, because if you eat a heavy breakfast, then your body has to work to burn it off. By the middle of the day, you're like this.
Wiped out.
Your body's wiped out from trying to, you know, burn off that food. So
that's right.
What about gyms? Like, okay, go ahead, man.
You start a trend now, eating the rest of the day, right? You eat that heavy meal in the morning. You get your body working overtime. Now, in the middle of the day, your body's dying, but you eat again because you're trying to recover. You start a trend. I don't eat hot food until the afternoon. And I started doing that. Like, I thought I was gonna be hungry. I'm not. Like, now I wake up in the morning and I don't want hot food in the morning.
Right.
I'm doing that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Morning, like, I eat fruit. Then I eat the raw food, and after I try to eat a salad, like, I might break down by like 3. I can't take it no more, and I have something. But I can't tell you the last time I've had hot breakfast.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good way to start the day, man.
I don't eat until 4 o'clock, so I pretty much eat 1 meal a day.
Yeah. There you go.
So you do that intermittent fasting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got that from
before the millennials.
The black man, right? Elijah Muhammad, right?
Yeah, the millennials call it intermittent fasting.
Yeah. That's how. But
that's the term.
That's the term, right?
Yeah.
But, so I eat at 4 o'clock, and that's pretty much it. For the day with me.
God bless you, brother. That's
because,
dope.
You know, that is how, you know, like I said, and we're all here up in age. We definitely need to find ways to kind of make ourselves just more weathered, right? More, and the better that we take care of ourselves, the better we're able to endure.
That's right.
You know? And you know, I find myself always challenging myself, especially training, you know, kids. You know, especially like today, I was on the beach with these high school kids. So, and they always go at me. So I always have to show them something to show them, like,
yeah. Who you dealing with, son? Now you can't mess with me.
You dealing with, man. You know what I mean?
With the clap in there, like, let's go. D up.
I don't even know, like, I'm so, like, I tell them all the time, you don't even know who you dealing with.
Right.
But you know, that's such a, you know, like I said, and that's part of it too, like trying to be able to consistently let these guys know and show these kids what it is that I want. You know what I mean? And if I can't do it properly, then there's no way for me to, you know, to transfer the knowledge, right?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So it's very important that I stay where it is that I need to stay. I have to stay athletic. You know, So I have to run at least, so I'll run at least probably 20 miles a week, right? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And make sure I get that in, and kettlebell, resistance bands. I do, I love running on the beach. For me is it. You know what I'm saying? I go out there to Orchard Beach consistently and running that sand. And I go.
I was about to say, do you live in Florida? But I forget.
What beach you running on, son?
Good old Chocha Beach.
That's right. And I get out there 7 in the morning, and it's the same old people that been out there for years. You know what I mean? It's the same.
That's what's up.
Walking their dogs. You know what I mean? And that's and I go up to Yonkers to Trevor Park and run those hills, and so that I can stay. You know what I mean? Where it is that I need to stay, man, and just once again, it to creating the mentality, right? Creating the mindset, and then trying to explain it to somebody else. What it takes, to consistently do it over time, and let people know, no, you don't need me, you don't need it.
That's right.
But people have to see us go through these things, right? In order for us to have the testimony.
Right. Sure. And I always tell, I don't try and tell people like, oh, go vegan, go eat. For me, it's like you're eating death.
Right.
Straight play, son. No chaser.
Right. No, but
that's the truth. Tell them the truth.
It's so true, right? But I think with our people, they need more than that, because we're hard as a culture. We're hard-headed, so it has to be explained all the way out. So it can't be it's depth. It's like, this right here, this is what it does to your body. Like, and then explain.
You can't persuade us. You got to write it out.
Right. Like you gotta with us. You gotta, and then we pay attention.
Right.
Like, I sent my daughter-in-law a video that I got on Instagram from this these Black men talking about dairy and what's in dairy, and he is clear as day. He said, "In the milk, there's doo-doo." That was it. I sent it to her. She sent me a text message. We just finished milk. I'm gonna buy almond milk from now on.
It really is a lifestyle.
They don't want no doo-doo milk.
No doo-doo. Doo-doo, pus, whatever.
All that stuff.
That's what's in there.
Right, and mucus is the disease of all, man. It's always
right. It's the inflammation in the body that's killing us.
Yep.
But that's another episode.
Yeah.
I think
sure.
To me, it really is a lifestyle change. Like, I think that there are people, I've had experiences where I had the opportunity to work with a personal trainer, and it was a really good experience, because a personal trainer is always good and they're motivating and everything. But I'm also like a person that's self-motivated, so even when I don't work with a personal trainer, I've conditioned myself to get up and do some form of exercise.
Yeah, you got that super device over there, son. You got
I ride my Peloton at least for 20 minutes, which is probably 8 miles a day.
That shit is serious. That's a serious machine over there.
I know a lot of friends who got the Peloton during this pandemic, and they are killing it.
Yeah, I got my Peloton. I got a chin-up bar. I got resistant bands. I got an elliptical. I got dumbbells.
So you don't need a gym membership.
Yeah, it's right there. Turn the camera this way, son.
I don't, because again, like, I'm somebody who, for me, doing it really is about buying into a lifestyle change and saying like, all right, I want to be healthy. I'm committed to it. The same way I carve out 30 minutes a day to go scroll through Instagram, I need to carve out 30 minutes a day to get on the machine and exercise and work out. And when this first started, I was sharing with Rob, I was like up to 200 pounds. And I was like, damn, like, I got to put the snacks in.
Yeah, he became a snack monster. That's what.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was depression, like what's going on. Or whatever.
Quarantine 15, 20, 30, 40, 45.
Now the snacks add up real quick. Well,
went to 180 and it's continuing to go down. And, I reconfigured and got my diet back together.
Right.
But I realized, like, for some people, it really is a lifestyle change. And there are those people that I think, almost like what you were saying, Fantastic. Like, there are some people you can tell it to and they'll be like, I've seen enough, I'm done. And then there are those people that they need somebody to literally hold their hand
Gotta ride it out, son.
I say take one small change a week. Make one day a day that you don't eat death.
Right. That's
Take
right.
one day a week.
That's a good point. I like
See
that.
how that works out for you. And if you realize, then try 2 days in a month. It take, like I said, 30 days to make a habit. So do 1 day a week for the 4 weeks in a month. See what it does for you.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, the lifestyle changes only helps you. You know, no one's telling you to change your lifestyle because we want to kill you. We're trying to show you how to live
and
here.
And it should be a personal choice. It should come from you.
Right.
To make the choice yourself.
Right.
But once again, we're entrenched in tradition, right? And we're programmed, right? You know,
gotta break those.
Yeah, and I was just joking with somebody the other day, like, I was like, yo, I remember when my mom would send me to the store to get 6 Kool-Aids, 6 packs of Kool-Aid for like $1, right? And I was like, yo, and she would like put so much sugar in that damn Kool-Aid.
Right.
I'm like, yo, this is.
I think I remember them glasses of Kool-Aid back in the days.
But this is it's so crazy, right? Because with us not knowing, like, yo, this is crazy, right? This lady is pouring almost a whole bag of
sugar in it,
right? But as
it was good.
It's good, right?
Like you said though, is that we're not trying to change, and people have to want to change. Food is an addiction, just like any other addiction: alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever addiction it is. Food is an addiction, and a lot of us are addicted to food. And so it has to be a personal decision for you to acknowledge your relationship with what you put in your mouth.
That's a fact.
That's where it comes down. We have to be the ones to bring it, and that's the only way we're gonna rehab from it.
Have a relationship with your food, baby.
Right.
Yo, listen, man. Y'all don't even know what y'all done for me, man. Because I have yet to get into a forum where I could talk to my peers about health, especially what I'm going through, so I can share some of my stuff and hear other people's points of view about health, man. This has done wonders for me as well as my partner, Shazna. But here we are. You know, this is kind of like the breakdown point. So at this point, we ask all of y'all to kind of plug yourselves, your platforms, whatever you guys are doing. Let the world know who you are, and they'll check it out, man. So, Keish, what's got going on with Frotastic World, man?
All right, I am Frotastic Wonder on Instagram. I also have a website, frotasticwonder.com, and I also made a rap song for natural women with natural hair.
Check it out.
It's on YouTube, and you can find my YouTube channel on frotasticwonder.com.
HB, what's good, HB? You doing some good stuff too, bro.
Yeah, we doing a whole lot, man. We gonna get your mind right. We gonna get your body right. We gonna get your pocket right. All right?
That's right. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you where you can find it all. You go on Instagram and data_guy, right? And that'll link you to everything, right? We got Bronx Muscle, where that's an elite training group. You know, we got the meal prep for you and all of that.
Nice.
Training, you know, for the serious, right? And then in addition to that, I also started a health and wellness company, you know, emphasizing in detoxing. We offer products for detox, for weight loss, weight gain, health and beauty. We got the hair, skin, and the nails with the biotin for the women and all that.
That's right.
So all of that's at data_guy on Instagram. I'll tell you wherever you gotta go.
Nice. Big brother?
All right, y'all. I know y'all gonna laugh at me.
Nah,
I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram. I'm so look.
Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok. I am on Facebook. Guerrilla Prince Athletics. You can check me out there. I do have a YouTube page, which is Guerrilla Prince Athletics as well. Aside from the athletic training that I do, I let you know that I do consulting, which means that kids that have that are prolific at a sport, but they don't have to be. Kids of color, but I'm not exclusive to kids of color. I try to find them situations that in terms of their educational situation, get them into a situation that is going to be really good. Now, with our community, it's always a thing like, oh, I don't want my baby to go. But what is the option that you have for them that's going to be better? And I always ask parents that, right? I've sent 3 kids to boarding school, and they've all had phenomenal experiences, right? Phenomenal. And then my 2 older boys have went on and done some great things. And like I just said, with my youngest son right now, he has 17 offers. I got a Zoom call tonight with Virginia Tech, somebody, 4 different schools I got to speak to tonight. So, but
that's what's up.
I say that because I have really been making a push for our community to send their kids away to boarding schools because there is so much opportunity.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
I'm telling, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, when you send your kid to XYZ high school, right? And you ask your son or daughter and, say, legitimately, what college would you like to go to? And they say, Stanford. Okay, that's great. So now XYZ high school, now as parents here on the panel, our job is to see, when's the last time somebody has went to Stanford from that school in the last 24 months? And if it hasn't happened, then it's not going to happen for your child.
Wow.
My job is to put your child in the situation where he or she's going to really be able to go to Stanford, because somebody has just went to Stanford from Stanford last year.
Right.
And the year before.
That's
you
right.
understand? So
right.
I want us to stop putting our kids in situations that are not to their advantage. Don't put your kid in XYZ high school just because it's down the block.
It's close.
It's convenient.
Right.
Stop doing that and then expecting, the kid to make it into Princeton. But nobody has went to Princeton from that place. So, so I'm making a really big push to try to get, parents to consider the option, or even day schools. If you're hell bent on not sending your son or daughter away, consider the day schools. At least they'll still have the opportunity to make it to a good college. But stop sending your kids to these schools where it's, they're not going on to anywhere. Right? Or, they're going to, XYZ college and now your son or daughter finds themselves settling, right?
Right.
And it's not exactly where it is that they wanted to go to school. So that's what, and then I just started my non-for-profit In the Mist, which In the Mist is basically so that I can help families who can't afford me as far as training or afford my consulting. So provided that your son or daughter meet our criteria, we'll either waive whatever fee or there'll be a partial fee for you to pay. Because I don't want to turn anybody away from the opportunities that I have. And I've made some really good contacts all around this country with some really great schools. And so I don't want it to be that somebody, can't.
Because they got the bread. Right.
Because they don't have the bread, so I got to be like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
So so I'm working on my non-for-profit now. I'm putting the finishing touches on that. But Guerrilla Prince Athletics, guys. Like I said, YouTube.
Now is this gorilla like Cuban gorilla?
That's right. That's right. Not the animal. Not the animal. That's right.
Straight dictatorship over there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what? I was in Cuba a year ago.
Really?
And, yeah. And I just have to say it was an amazing experience.
I already know. I'm working on it. That was that. When before all this went down, I was going to Miami in April. And then my next trip was Cuba.
Yeah.
So,
How about that?
Yeah, man.
How about that?
You'll get there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yo, I love each and every one of y'all, man. This concludes the show. Towards the end of the show, we might ask somebody to drop a job, but this is how we do it at No Ideas Original. We bring panels in, we bring people in to express themselves. their testimonies, whatever ideas they have. We're here to promote us, most importantly, you know what I'm saying? And we can get things done, man, in a collective way. So there's my co-host. You have any parting words, Shy?
No, thank you. I appreciated the conversation. You know,
See y'all on the other side, y'all. Peace.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right.